Indeed, India's Ahmed Moin Faruqi joins us for more from Colombo. Dr. Faruqi, what explains the splendid performance of the NPP in the parliamentary elections as compared to September's presidential elections? And why has the Sri Lanka Podijana Peramuna fared so very badly?
Okay, there are multiple reasons here. To begin with, there was a strong desire among the people, a desire for change. They had rejected the old guard as was visible in the presidential elections, but this time around it got reinforced because immediately after assuming the position as the president, the leader of NPP, Narokkama Dissanayake, had started taking efforts towards making changes in the government sector, in the government setup itself. He was bringing in more transparency, and that was something which kind of resonated among the people. That's one. Secondly, the vote share which was visible in presidential election at 42%, it has now this time around in the parliamentary elections has gone up to 61.56%. It's a major jump of almost 20%. And this shows that people have actually thought about the future of Sri Lanka, and that decisive kind of a mandate is necessary in the parliament to the existing government. And that's the reason why there is a possibility that certain of the floating votes or the fence-sitter votes have also shifted towards the NPP. Now, if we look at the results carefully, the National People's Power has secured more than two-thirds the total strength of the parliament. The parliament's total capacity is 225, and National People's Power has now 159 seats. This is by far the best performance by any party or alliance in the new system that was adopted from 1978 in the parliamentary elections in the entire history of Sri Lanka. Now, this is something which is remarkable. It's a historic kind of an achievement. The entire island, except for one electoral district, has voted decisively in favor of National People's Power. That's how it appears like that.
And what are likely to be the principal reforms that President Dissanayake will now vigorously pursue? And now, how likely is he to succeed both in the reforms and in his policies to fight graft?
You see, the graft issue was something which was going on in Sri Lanka for quite a long time. Several of the previous regimes have been under considerable attack from various organizations. In fact, also the people have been talking about corruption-related issues in Sri Lanka. And that's something which was very high on the agenda of the voters during these two elections, both these elections, presidential as well as parliamentary elections. Now, with a decisive mandate, the president as well as his government will have considerable say with regard to revamping and reforming the entire system in the government, making things more transparent and accountable. They have also talked about investigations into the previous instances where several rules were violated by ministers as well as the governments in the previous instances by the predecessors. Now, this is something which is very interesting to note, because once the investigations get completed and if found guilty, probably this will lead to considerable kind of relief among the people, that those who are accountable have been brought to book. Now, this is something which the NPP has been talking about during the campaign. Now, it needs to be seen how they would go ahead with implementing these reforms. That's one. Secondly, the economic reforms are something which people had been talking about. The cost of living was something which was very high ever since the peak of economic crisis witnessed in 2022. Food and fuel prices had gone to a very alarming level. In fact, the inflation had hit a high of 70%, the effects of which are visible even to this day. And this is where people have been hoping that some tax relief as well as relaxation in the austerity measures adopted by former President Ranil Wickremesinghe's government will probably be adopted during this government. And this is where a parliamentary majority will definitely come in handy for the current government as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed Moin Faruqi, giving us all those perspective on the results from Colombo.